Good evening and welcome. Tonight we're taking a look at a story that is truly out of this world. You may remember NASA for their groundbreaking Apollo missions that put a man on the moon, but did you know that they also tried to teach a dolphin to speak English? Yes, the same agency that sent Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin to the moon also thought it was a good idea to try to communicate with a dolphin. And the story only gets weirder from there. We're diving deep into a story that's just as bizarre as it is disturbing. The tale of a group of researchers who tried to teach a dolphin to speak English and had one of their researchers live with it and give it hand jobs. Yes, you heard that right. The same agency that put a man on the moon also thought it was a good idea to try to communicate with a dolphin. The project was spearheaded by a scientist named John C. Lilly, who was well known in the field of sensory deprivation and consciousness studies, but was also heavily involved in experimenting with LSD and other psychoactive drugs. He was joined by Timothy Leary, a psychologist and writer who became well known for his advocacy of psychedelic drugs in the 1960s, and Gregory Bateson, an anthropologist and systems theorist who was interested in the relationship between communication and social behavior. These mental giants at the Communication Research Institute in Miami launched a project aimed at studying dolphin communication and behavior. And let me tell you, they really went all in on this project. They built an underwater lab, complete with living quarters for the humans and a converted dolphin home in a laboratory setting in St. Thomas in the US Virgin Islands. They were like a bunch of college kids who just discovered acid and decided to run an experiment on marine life. One of the researchers involved in the project was a young woman named Margaret Howe Lovatt, who was tasked with living in a partially submerged house with a dolphin named Peter. Lovatt spent several months living with Peter and studying his behavior, and the two developed a close relationship over time. However, as Peter reached sexual maturity, he began to exhibit signs of sexual frustration and aggression. Lovatt was asked to manually stimulate Peter in order to relieve his sexual urges. Now, I'm not saying that's a normal job duty for anyone, but if you're going to do it, at least have the decency to call it what it is. Dolphin hand jobs. Yes, I said it, dolphin hand jobs. It's not a phrase I ever thought I'd utter, but here we are. Now, let's be clear here. This is not normal behavior, even for scientists. I mean, I've heard of animal testing, but this is taking it to a whole new level. And the fact that Lovatt was willing to go along with it just goes to show you how far people will go in the name of science. This government-funded program was hoping that the researchers would establish a form of communication between humans and dolphins, but the project ultimately came to an end in the early 1970s due to concerns over the welfare of the animals involved. Despite all their efforts, the project ultimately failed to produce any groundbreaking results and were never able to establish a true form of communication with the dolphins. So what can we make of all this? Well, the lesson here is that drugs are bad. And if you don't do drugs, you can fly to the moon. If you do drugs, you'll end up with a messed up experiment that involves a bunch of scientists with questionable credentials and a horny dolphin. So if you want to recreate the Big Bang Theory meets Blackfish, then this is a glimpse into your future. But fair warning, you may get called interesting variations of the term wanker from your peers. So be prepared. Thank you for listening to this ridiculous story. Feel free to leave a comment and let us know what we missed or what you would like us to cover next. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next installment.